It's a rear engine. I mean, the engine behind you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a trunk space actually behind that engine, right?
Oh yeah.
Honda decided to do that. But do not put your groceries there. It heats
it'll
up.
heat up.
It actually heats up. Yeah, I was like, yeah.
It's not a grocery getter.
Yeah. But where shall we go?
So it's got the 6-speed, which is nice.
Right. This is part of the reason why I got the 6-speed one too. Right.
Yeah.
Bigger engine, something like that.
So that was new with the 97, right?
Yeah,
the
97 or more. Yeah.
with
The only thing that my shouldn't we say complain, right? It's the fact that it's target top, because I actually like a coupe, right?
Yep. Likewise.
What's really interesting about the NSX market here, and there's two funny things I found about this car, right? Or three. The first one is most people who buy this kind of money, they're more like people. I want a convertible type of thing. That's why actually the coupe is an option, not the Targa.
Wait, are you talking about the used market or when it was new?
No, when it was new.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It was actually the coupe version is actually an option, which is kind of funny. Usually it's the other way around, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I learned about that.
So you had to pay more for the coupe?
Or special order. Special order. I think it's the same price. Yeah. Now the coupe from the post 97 model, there was about 3,000 unit that was made in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is including the facelift, right? But because mechanical is the same, only about 0.5% are actually coupes, if you don't count the Zanardi, right? So that from 0.5%, that's about 15 out of 3,000, right? It's nearly impossible to get, and I've always wanted this car, and this is a compromise I had to make, right? Sometimes you got to make compromises. You have to make compromises, right? That's kind of what it is.
Well, like I think you're like me. We both like the coupes because they're lighter, they're stronger,
and rigid too, right?
Yeah, they're just better handling.
Exactly, right. It's kind of like that was the whole idea.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't like too much sun in my cars. I don't like having to wear a hat or sunblock.
Right. So another funny thing here is you notice there's actually a cassette here.
Oh yeah.
Okay. What's funny is the previous owner actually left a bunch of cassettes. Mixtapes, right? And it was labeled Mozart, and then was something else entirely in there, more like a rap song that I thought was kind of interesting. Okay. But what I even found funny for this car, this 1997, right?
Yeah.
CD player is an option. And it does not have the option, this car, for CD, so it's all this that I have.
Yeah, wow, that's interesting.
Right, that was really interesting. And finally, I like to jokingly say this: it is a very user-friendly car to drive. Very easy for again, I've never driven a Ferrari or a Porsche, but I know that 911 Turbo or 911 in general, because it's rear engine, it's a very difficult car.
When you push it to the limits.
Yeah, when you push it to the limit, right?
If you get the rear wheel, non-all-wheel drive. Yeah.
Yeah, and I jokingly said it's kind of like an Accord, and if you look at the interior, it's probably like an Accord EX of the time, right? Accord 97. It
kind of looks like my my 97, my 98 and 02 Accords. Yeah. A lot of similarities here.
Right? Yeah, but again, that's how they were able to actually. For every single unit they made, they actually lost money, right? But if they use custom parts, I think they would even lost even more.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. So
I didn't know that it was a loss leader.
It was a loss leader. Yeah.
Wow.
They just couldn't make the enough volume for that, right? Again, it's difficult to make, and I have to be honest too. I believe the new NSX is not selling very well.
No,
right?
It isn't. Yeah,
it's the reason being is if you have $180,000 to budget for a car, right?
You're gonna probably buy a Ferrari or a McLaren or
exactly.
a 911 Turbo.
That's kind of what I was thinking about too.
Yeah.
You have to either A, like Honda, or two, you understand what Honda is all about, or what's the car is all about, right? I'm probably one of the few would actually buy it, right? So I was at the Monterey Speed Week. I saw zero of the current generation NSX.
Yeah,
right?
It's unfortunate.
Correct.
I feel like Honda's lost their way.
Yeah.
Just they missed the mark.
Right.
They should have just come out with something lightweight, simple, rear-wheel drive or mid-engine. I mean, basically put the modern Accord engine into something that sold for like $60,000, right? Like the new C8 Corvette.
Right.
C8 Corvette is just going to destroy the NSX.
Right.
And also the new Supra. I mean, there's just, like, if you're going to spend that much money, like, Corvette's a no-brainer, right?
That's true.
And if you're going to spend more than, if you're going to spend in the mid 100s, $100,000 to $200,000 range, you're not going to be looking at an NSX.
Right.
You're going to go straight to a McLaren or a Ferrari or a 911 or, an Audi R8, something in that caliber. Right.
Right. That's correct. Yeah, we just kind of, you said it, right? Just a little lessons in business here, and we compare about Supra and Corvette, right? Which is the Carrera NSX.
Product market fit.
Correct. Which is it's a product thing, right? And product strategy. If you look at the Supra, right? They know Toyota bean counter kind of understand it. Look, we can't make money if we invest in a new engine, completely new inline circuit. Yeah. They're part of BMW, sure, right? But look at how much they could offer it at $60,000 MSRP, right? That's great.
Yep.
Corvette, on the other hand, is another company that it's about positioning, and it's about R&D costs, right?
Yep.
So I'm not dissing Corvette. I actually it's a wonderful car. I think it's actually a great setup, right? I think I'm hoping they will actually sell more, right? If you look at the technology announcement, it's been done by this car 30 years ago.
Yep.
Right? So all the R&D cost is there, right? So now, how do they make up again for the tooling, the fixed costs, fixed capital costs? It's how they position the product, which is, hey, it's for everyday supercar, right? And then they gotta sell that price. They make a volume, right? So in terms of product strategy, I think it's actually much better for them.
Oh yeah,
and they did their research, right?
Yep, and you just update the LS engine yet again and give it a little more horsepower. Throw it. The new C8 Corvette also has an aluminum chassis like this car. Right. So a lot of the same formula. Unfortunately, you won't have a manual transmission.
Right. But DCT is pretty good though.
It is.
DCT is very good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for racing purposes of being right. But again, that different kind of engagement with the user, right? I think that's really what you're kind of saying, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That's kind of what. So, other than that, what am I want to comment? Yeah. So another thing is context. Context is important, right? You have to understand the context in when this car was made. Okay, if you recall this, remember there was something called the bubble era in Japan, right?
Yep.
The bubble economy. Japan was running high. People were really scared that Japan was going to take over the U.S. as an economic might, right?
Yep.
And so there's a lot of cash floating around. There's a lot of like lending from the banks, right? Like that turns out to be bad loans. And these pet projects, like this is actually a pet project that was approved by Soichiro Honda, the founder of it, right? So and that's why this car was a product of a different era. Right?
Oh yes.
And that's why
the golden era of Japanese cars.
Exactly, right? Yep. We will never see that again.
The Skyline GTR, the Supra,
the Mazda RX-7,
RX-7,
VR4, 360 twin turbo, Supra Mark IV, right? Those were highly unique cars.
Oh
We'll never see that again.
300ZX twin turbo. Did you already say that one?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones.
Yes, the golden era of Japanese cars. Yeah. Oh man. Yep. Yeah, we're never gonna see that again, unfortunately.
No, we'll never see that again. Yeah, we'll never see that. But because we lived that, like I know, you go to used car markets and like that. And if you're good with your hands, you can always kind of fix them up yourself, right? It's kind of like what we.
You know what? I'm kicking myself for not buying an NSX when they were down to like $15,000 to $20,000.
They were
back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I should.
Well, I kicked myself for passing on a Sonardi. That's what it is. Right?
Back then,
there was a Sonardi. Yeah, I thought back then. This is back more like around 2003, 2004. Somebody put it on eBay.
Oh wow.
Right? Yeah, and I mean, yes, it's more expensive back then, like $80,000, right? But just the sheer rarity of it, right? And the joy, because I'm also Integra Type R driver, so I kind of understand, right? And as you can tell, I'm a Honda fan. Right? That's what it is. Right?
Yes. And some people will knock the NSX for just not having enough power.
Yeah.
Right. People will throw like a Comptech supercharger or turbos,
right.
or
by Mugen, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mugen. That's the company that a tuner. It's the same thing. You're right.
Yep. Yeah. But it's It's, you know, it's the lightness, it's the agility of the platform.